What if everything you've been taught about manifestation is backwards? You've been grinding through visualizations, repeating affirmations you don't believe, and trying to force your way into a better reality. And it's exhausting, isn't it? Here's why it's not working, and stay with me because what I'm about to share will flip everything upside down. Manifestation isn't hard. It's actually stunningly simple. So simple that almost nobody does it correctly. Right now, you're living inside a quantum field, an infinite field of possibility that responds not to your effort, but to your alignment. And here's the problem, most people approach manifestation like it's a war. They try to overpower reality with willpower. They force positive thoughts while their body is drowning in fear and stress. And this is where everything collapses. Because in the quantum world, forcing creates friction. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. Let me strip this down for you. Quantum manifestation isn't about getting what you want, it's about collapsing the version of reality where you already have it. It's not about changing the external world first. It's about embodying the internal signal that magnetizes that world toward you. The quantum field holds every possibility. Success and failure. Abundance and lack. Love and loneliness. All of it exists simultaneously as waves of probability. But here's the kicker, that wave doesn't collapse into your lived reality until it meets a coherent observer. That's you. Your focus, your emotion, your attention, they sculpt reality. But most people are observing from fear, focusing on what's missing, vibrating in lack while trying to pull in abundance. And in the language of quantum physics, this is noise, not signal. You've been taught to chase what you want. But the real art is becoming the version of you that no longer needs to chase. The version that remembers, I'm already entangled with what I desire. But why don't people do this? And what happens when you finally understand the mechanics? Keep listening. Here's what nobody tells you about how the quantum field actually works. The quantum field isn't responding to your wishes. It's responding to your coherence. And coherence isn't about thinking positive, it's about alignment between what you think, what you feel, and what you do. Think of the quantum field like a cosmic translator. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, the message is crystal clear. The field responds almost instantly. But when you're thinking one thing, feeling another, and doing something completely disconnected, the message gets scrambled. The field mirrors back chaos. This is where the observer effect comes in, and this is critical. At the quantum level, particles exist in pure possibility, what physicists call a wave function. But the moment an observer focuses on a particular possibility, that wave collapses into a fixed event. Reality solidifies. The unseen becomes seen. But here's the catch that changes everything, the observer isn't just your conscious mind. The observer is also your subconscious. This means even if you consciously want abundance, if your subconscious is wired for scarcity and fear, the field picks up on that hidden broadcast. Your subconscious becomes the true observer, collapsing a timeline you didn't consciously choose. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're aligning their surface mind while ignoring the deep programs running beneath. And in the quantum game, the subconscious always wins. But it gets even more fascinating. Scientists like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton have shown that your heart has its own electromagnetic field, far stronger than your brain's. This heart field radiates outward and interacts with the quantum field around you. When your heart and brain are in coherence, you send out a powerful unified signal. When they're out of sync, the signal becomes weak and fragmented. This is why trying to manifest from your mind alone fails. Without the emotional component, the felt sense of alignment, the quantum field has no clear signal to mirror back. Let me give you an example. Imagine you want to manifest love. You write affirmations, create vision boards, visualize your ideal partner. But deep down, you're carrying wounds of unworthiness. Your nervous system is braced for rejection. Your heart is armored and afraid to open. The quantum field feels that tension. it picks up the contradiction. And what you get back is more longing, more searching, more almost but not quite connections. It's not that the universe is punishing you. It's that it's perfectly mirroring your dominant frequency. So what's the shift? The shift is into coherence. Into feeling whole now. Into practicing the emotions of what you desire before it shows up. Into embodying the state of already having it so the field can collapse that timeline into form. You become the frequency first. The form follows. But here's where most people sabotage themselves, and I need you to hear this next part clearly. Why is it that with all the books, courses, and endless content on manifestation, so many people stay stuck? The answer is uncomfortable, because letting go feels unnatural. The human mind is addicted to control. We've been conditioned to believe that effort equals worth, that struggle proves we deserve success. So when we encounter a system where the key is surrender and alignment, it short-circuits our programming. We keep trying to force outcomes even though forcing is the very frequency that tells the field we don't trust the process. Most people who fail at manifestation are caught in what I call the control trap. They visualize abundance but check their bank account every hour with anxiety. They script about love but obsess over text messages. They declare health but scan their body for symptoms every morning. In doing this, they send a signal of mistrust to the field. They affirm one thing consciously but broadcast the opposite subconsciously. And here's why this matters: the quantum field doesn't speak English or any human language. It speaks energy. And energy never lies. You can say all the right words, but if your nervous system is bracing for loss, if your mind loops in doubt, if your body floods with cortisol, the field listens to that deeper frequency. This is why so many people are exhausted. They're doing all the things, but from a place of hypervigilance and lack. And so they loop. They manifest more waiting, more lack, more efforting, because energetically they're not in the timeline of already having. They're in the timeline of trying to get. And here's where it gets even more subtle: your subconscious mind runs about 95% of your life. It shapes your habits, beliefs, emotional reactions, and identity. You may consciously want a breakthrough, but if your subconscious is anchored in old stories, "I'm not enough, nothing works for me, I have to fight for everything," those stories will collapse the wave into the same old outcomes. This is why affirmations without embodiment feel hollow. Why visualizations without nervous system regulation collapse. Why action without aligned identity leads to burnout. So what's the solution? It's not about doing more. It's about becoming coherent. And that requires understanding something most manifestation teachers never mention. Quantum manifestation is not an add-on to your life. It's a recalibration of your entire system. It's about becoming the version of you that lives inside the timeline you desire before you see evidence of it in your external world. Let me break this down practically. If you want abundance, you practice feeling abundant now. Not later when the money arrives, now. You treat yourself with generosity and care. You let go of micromanaging the outcome and focus on embodying the signal of trust. If you want love, you practice loving yourself now. You open your heart. You soften your edges. You become the kind of partner you wish to attract. You stop seeking validation and start living as though you're already enough, because you are. If you want health, you stop scanning for what's wrong and begin nurturing what's right. You shift from survival mode into resilience. You practice gratitude for the body you have while gently guiding it toward vitality. And here's the paradox nobody talks about: when you stop needing it so badly, it arrives faster. Not because the universe is testing you, but because you're no longer the resistance. Think about a time when something came to you effortlessly. Maybe you met the perfect person by accident. Got an opportunity you weren't seeking. Had a breakthrough idea when you weren't trying. What's the common thread? You weren't gripping. You weren't forcing. You were open, aligned, available. That's quantum manifestation at work. The quantum doesn't care about your words. It reads your energy. You can say, I am wealthy, 1,000 times, but if your body broadcasts fear, if your heart clenches in scarcity, if your nervous system addicts itself to struggle, the field mirrors that chaos back. Not because it's cruel. Because it's precise. So here's the radical shift: quantum manifestation begins when you stop focusing on getting and start focusing on being. You become the signal. You embody the vibration. You let your state lead, not your effort. But that raises the million-dollar question: how do you actually become that signal? What does embodiment really mean in practice? Here's the most powerful truth in quantum manifestation, the part hidden in plain sight. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. This isn't philosophy. It's fundamental physics. The field doesn't respond to your vision boards or your perfectly worded affirmations. It responds to the signal of your being, the vibrational signature you carry into every moment, every thought, every interaction. And that signal is built moment by moment, not in what you're doing, but in how you're being. Imagine you're a radio. If you want to hear jazz, you don't demand jazz from the universe while staying tuned to a heavy metal station. You change the dial. You tune your frequency to match what you want to receive. Quantum manifestation works the same way. You can't pull in the timeline you desire while vibrating in the frequency of the timeline you're trying to leave. So how do you change the dial? You start by becoming conscious of your current frequency. Not just what you think, but how you feel. How does your body move through the day? How do you breathe when stressed? What stories loop in the background of your mind? Most of us aren't manifesting deliberately. We're manifesting on autopilot, recycling the same states, the same reactions, the same energetic broadcasts. And the field faithfully mirrors those back. The shift begins when you interrupt the pattern. Not with brute force, not with frantic effort, but with simple embodied practices. It can be as subtle as taking a conscious breath in a moment of anxiety. As gentle as placing a hand on your heart when spiraling into self-doubt. As bold as asking yourself, what would the version of me who already has this do right now? And then taking one small action from that place. Because here's what nobody tells you: the quantum doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be coherent. Coherence happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction. When you stop saying one thing, feeling another, and doing something else entirely. When your whole system hums with a single unified signal. And when you reach that state, even briefly, you create a gravitational pull in the field. Reality begins to bend toward you. If you want to embody abundance, practice generosity, not just with money, but with attention, time, and energy. Train your nervous system to feel, I have enough, even if the numbers haven't caught up yet. If you want to embody love, practice vulnerability. Open your heart in small, courageous ways. Be the safe space you're longing to find in someone else. If you want to embody health, practice presence. Listen to your body. Feed it, move it, rest it from respect, not punishment. This is the simple path. And yet few walk it because it asks you to go first, to become the frequency before the evidence arrives, to lead with being, not needing. And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood pieces in manifestation: emotional regulation. Because here's what most people get wrong. People assume manifestation is about feeling good all the time. It's not. It's about feeling real all the time and learning to bring your system back into alignment when you wobble. This means welcoming your emotions, not bypassing them. It means holding space for fear without letting it drive. It means practicing emotional fluency so you can navigate waves without drowning. Here's the truth: you will wobble. You will doubt. You will have days when the old timeline pulls at your heels. That's okay. The power isn't in never falling. It's in how you return. So here's my invitation. Take a breath right now. Notice where you are. Ask yourself, what timeline am I tuned to in this moment? Is it fear or trust? Lack or abundance. Waiting or arrival. No judgment. Just notice. Because the moment you notice, you create a choice point. And choice is the gateway to coherence. Let me make this even more practical. Every morning before you check your phone, take a few breaths and ask, what frequency am I tuning into today? Scarcity or abundance? Fear or trust? Control or flow? Throughout the day, use your body as your compass. Your body will tell you when you've slipped out of alignment. You'll feel tension, tightness, contraction. In that moment, you don't need to shame yourself. You just notice, breathe, and recalibrate. Ask, what would the version of me living in my desired timeline choose right now? Then take one small action from that place. And at night before you sleep, replay the day, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Where did you wobble? Where did you align? Where did you glimpse your own power? Gratitude amplifies coherence. Acknowledge even the smallest wins. Now here's something most people miss: community matters. We're social energetic beings. We co-regulate with the people around us. When you surround yourself with others practicing coherence, playing in the quantum field, committed to embodiment, your system entrains to that vibration. This is why it's crucial to curate your environment, not just physically, but energetically. But here's the final piece that brings it all together. Manifestation is not a performance. It's a practice. It's not something you master once. It's something you live moment by moment, choice by choice. The most powerful manifestors aren't the ones who know the most techniques. They're the ones who have learned to hold a coherent state, to regulate themselves back into alignment when life shakes them. Because here's the reality, you will face moments that test you. There will be days when fear creeps back, when old patterns whisper, when the timeline you're leaving feels like it's pulling you back. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to go into control mode, to push, force, micromanage. But the real mastery is this: can you stay in the frequency of trust even when the evidence hasn't arrived yet? Can you hold the vibration of, it's already done, while the world still looks the same? Can you become so anchored in the new timeline that the old one no longer seduces you? This is where embodiment becomes non-negotiable. Remember, there's no finish line. The point isn't to arrive and stop. The point is to live inside a continuous unfolding where you become the living edge of your own evolution, where you don't just manifest things, but become someone who lives as a conscious creator, a co-creator, a conscious participant in shaping reality. Because here's the most beautiful part: the quantum field is not separate from you. It's not something you manipulate from a distance. It's something you're entangled with. You are the field. You are the wave. You are the observer and the observed. So when you tune your frequency, you're not just asking life to meet you. You're becoming the version of life you've been seeking. I want to leave you with this: in the comments, drop one word that captures the energy you're choosing to carry forward. Maybe it's alignment. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's something uniquely yours. Let that word be a small but profound declaration, a quantum seed you plant. And if this video stirred something inside you, if you felt a shift, or remembering, a spark, I warmly invite you to subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a living space for those ready to step into their creative power. Thank you for walking this journey with me. You are not just a viewer. You are a participant in this unfolding. Keep tuning. Keep aligning. Keep playing in the field.